Another point to make is consistency in the levels of service that you provide your customers. There are times you want to provide service beyond your specified guidelines, such as when an emergency occurs, or if you know the customer is a VIP. There may also be times when you cannot give the customer the service that they require, such as when they're extremely rude and your company's guidelines do not require you to try and satisfy this customer. These are both the exceptions and not the norm. Aside from these scenarios, your levels of service should be consistent. The principle is to provide the level of service to your customers that you would expect to receive as a customer. So what are some of the traits necessary to be a successful CSR? Here's a list of characteristics necessary to satisfy your customers. That's how we'll measure this. The first one is integrity. Always doing what's right, even when no one is watching. You take ownership of the caller's needs. That's a big part of integrity. This means owning the solution for every caller. It takes an extra commitment to offer that level of service, and if no one around you is doing that, then you can be the first and raise the standard. Again, it must be within the guidelines of your organization. But taking ownership means that you take responsibility to take care of the customer's request and make sure that they are taken care of. Ownership is a higher level of commitment to the customer and your job responsibilities that makes you feel proud of the work that you do, which increases your job satisfaction. It leads to excellence in service and therefore excellence in customer satisfaction. Integrity also consists of a consistent delivery of high quality standards. Having 10 good quality calls out of 12 means that there are some areas to improve on or possibly find ways to be more committed to following procedures. This is something you will learn about yourself and know how to best improve yourself as you go through time with your company. It is a good idea to ask your coworkers and supervisor of ways to improve where you see you are not always consistent. We do have blind spots and are not always able to see what it is we need to work on. Sensitivity is thinking about the caller's needs and doing what you can to satisfy their request. This is another attribute that is highly necessary for excellent customer service. It's simply offering them what your company promised and what you, of course, would expect as a customer. This is easier to do when your mind is positive and the day is fresh. So consistency of sensitivity throughout the day is not a simple task, but it is necessary. Think about your own needs. When you call a company to speak to a CSR, do your expectations go down because it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon? I don't think so, and neither do your customers. So we'll also discuss some ways to keep your focus throughout the day. The next customer service trait we'll talk about is relationship building. Relationship building is customer relations and is different than customer service. I covered how customer relations means building a lasting relationship where customer service is a general attitude of service and takes care of the customer's immediate request. Most companies look for ways to rely on repeat business and look for ways to bring customers back. And technology has made this easier to have multiple ways of advertising new products or services. Companies are now able to elicit feedback from customers through multiple methods, such as phone surveys after the customer service call, online feedback, and email surveys. Positive customer relationship involves two-way communication between the customer and the company. This helps to create the customer's expectations, since they are able to now voice what they like and what they need. Customers now have more of a voice, and this produces change. Poor customer relations can not only cost a business millions of dollars, but goodwill as well. After New York consumers complained that AOL customer service representatives either ignored service cancellation requests or made it difficult to cancel, AOL agreed to pay $1.25 million to the state of New York. It also agreed to reform its customer service procedures. The advantage you have as a CSR is having a live person interaction that is personable because it's over the phone and not a chat, email, or some other form of just a simple transactional communication. You have the opportunity to build a relationship with this customer through conversation. The next trait we'll talk about is interpersonal skills. As we've discussed, good customer service is no longer enough. It's also very important that you meet the psychological needs of the customer and build a long-term relationship. Also, we've discussed those things. There are ways to interact and come to a point of excellent communication and interaction that helps the customer feel they're really taken care of. Remember, you do have competition, and it should always be in the back of your mind. Interpersonal skills build a relationship with your customer and help produce the wow factor to help make you as a CSR stand out as well as your company. Customers now have more options than ever before, and they feel a lot less loyal because of this. They want products and services fast, cheap, and quick from whoever will provide them. That means that the competitive advantage is largely in how you handle your customers and your responsibilities as a CSR. To keep customers and build repeat business, excellent interpersonal skills along with a superior product or service can put your company over the competitive edge. Another very important trait for a CSR is politeness. Now, this is just a general courteousness towards your customers. It's what we were taught growing up. Please and thank you. And just means to have an overall nice manner of speaking. It's also just as important not to have your conversation dripping with so much thank you and appreciation that it ends up sounding fake. Every interaction you have with the customer will have some element of scriptedness to it. Your conversation can still be very natural and produce that relationship that you're trying to build. This can be done in a way that is very natural and genuine, but not too casual. You still want to aim for professionalism. In other words, it's not the same as speaking with your family or your friends. It's a business conversation and should sound a bit different, but altogether believable, even the scripted parts. Now, if this is challenging for a person to show politeness, it probably has to do with low interpersonal skills and possibly a scant of lack of concern as well for just general concern for others. These can be taught and even embraced, but it's true that it may not be in your tool belt right now for use. We are going to cover this coming up about the different types of people and some of the skills that may or may not come natural to you. The next trait, and the last that we're going to talk about right now, is a willingness to help. This could also be titled an eagerness to help. The customer can tell through your tone or actions that you are truly happy to help them with their situation. This can overcome a lack of ability as long as you display confidence in helping the customer find a solution to their request.